So, hey folks, like I said last week, we're going to start off, this is going to be a special little video where I go over the roster, including my Developmental folks, and see where they're going, where they've been, what's going on. So, we'll start out with, ironically, our world champion, Booker T. So, popularity-wise, so he's currently, hanging around 90-ish, 89, 90. And that's basically, he started out at 76 way back last May, and now he's up to here. So, basically he's just been pushed as basically my top guy, and now he's basically, my top guy. Canada, not so much, but Mexico, British Isles, Japan, Europe, all that stuff. And yeah, and skills wise, he's not doing a lot to change, he's getting slightly better. But nothing too crazy. Acting and charisma is getting slightly better, so that's better, which means he can actually hang around in the main event. But aside that, yeah, he's Booker T. He's really freaking good, and he's going to be probably my top guy for a while. He's a five-time world heavyweight champion, and a zillion time other stuff. But yeah, so next up is Paige. He's got a legendary blue collar gimmick, so he's not going to turn heel anytime soon. Popularity wise, he's hanging around 84, 85. So yeah, he started 79. He was getting up there 86s, fell down to 82. Now he's backed up 84, 85. Skill wise, nope, that's scouting levels. Never mind. But yeah, if we can look at things he's slowly starting to fall. Yeah, he's getting older. But he still has basic psychology and everything else is still good. His consistency is falling, so is his selling. Physical slowly falling, so is stamina. Microphone's getting actually way better, ironically. Star quality is falling because again he's getting older. Yeah, so basically, I figure I probably have another maybe year with Paige as where I can have him as a top guy or upper mid card guy, but by just in real life by 2003-ish, he probably will have to either go to a, he'll basically have to become a color commentator, a new commissioner type, or just an off-screen role because he's slowly, he's slowly falling down. Rhodes, Rhodes been in a weird position because he's sort of been my main event or upper mid carder I don't really want. As you can see, he's filtered between 58 and 62, and that's been about it. Nothing too special. Yeah, and same thing with skills. He's Dustin Rhodes actually is. He's really good. Microphone's good. His charisma's been getting better. His actual skills in the ring, all this stuff is really solid. I just I don't know. There's a spot with him where I want to push him, but there's other people basically better. So he's sort of in a spot where he is right now, feuding with Lawler, Funk, and Macias, and then going from there. But yeah, his old school face gimmick is really good, so no need to change that yet. But who knows what might show up in the future for Rhodes. Then we've got Jarrett, EU Maniac, very good, our current U.S. champion, main eventer. And yeah, he's the third guy in the Horseman basically. But that's a good spot for him because he's not going to be the guy that Vince Russo wanted to be as a top guy, but he can be a basically utility player, which is he can be in a main event of a Nitro. He can have a random good solid match in the mid card, whatever. But yeah, he's been getting slowly better. 65s. Everything else not so good. But yeah, and skills wise, if we look at things, it's getting there. He's never going to be great, but yeah, this stuff, he's again everybody just because I'm giving them mic time. This is how you get people better. You give them time on the mic, and it's better. But yeah, Jarrett's Jarrett just in real life, he'll be around for a while. He'll never be a top guy. So he might want to move on at some point because I'm not going to push him as a top guy, but he'll probably be well pushed at least for the next few years. Then Canyon. Now Canyon is the guy. Well, first of all, because he has a psycho legendary gimmick. He has manager of Joni Lawler, and yeah, And popularity-wise, if you notice, like he's in the mid 80s now. He started in the 59, and I've just pushed the guy. Like I've just pushed the guy all the way up to the top. And skills-wise, same thing. Like he's now a in ring he's still solid, but performance-wise he's a lot more basics. He's better a psych. He's up in consistency. He's up in selling. Physical's about the same, but he's a freaking great on the mic now. He's really charismatic. He has a good star quality. Um, you know, I mean, if not for Booker being around, like he would be a guy who would be grooming to be the guy. And that's good because, like in real life, he sort of got screwed, and now he doesn't. But yeah, like he's really good, and he's going to be consistently a part of the Horsemen for as long as I can get. We got Luger. Luger's interesting because he's also falling apart, but he's also still over. Like he was off screen because of, remember, WCW legal issues. But I've basically been. He's basically. I mean, let's be honest here. I'm just going to drop him to everybody, and then hopefully he'll want to resign, so Sting won't be unhappy when I don't resign him when his contract is up, which is another 5 months. So by basically the end of this year, he'll probably be gone unless I figure out something else to do with him. Cause he's not great. Flair's Flair. Like again, if we look at popularity wise, he's still I built him back up to being a top heel. He's never going to be like a world champion again, especially because if we look at skills, like in ring, he's slowly going down. I mean, he's still Ric Flair, so he still have this stuff. So like he could literally be crap and still put a decent match around. All this stuff is still great. So I mean, he's another guy who I've probably got another year or two to work in the ring, just like in real life, and then probably going to have to start figuring out a way to transition him to an off-screen role, and what to do with that from there. Steiner's the guy who like popularity-wise, like Steiner was up in the 90s when he was a world champ. I had him drop the title, and I've sort of screwed him over since then. Because the truth is, I like him as a character, but I also know he's Steiner, so at a certain point he'll start to fall apart. So I don't want to push him too much. But at the same time, I don't want to totally drop him out. So he's sort of stuck in this weird situation where I push him well. He gets good ratings whenever I push him in singles matches. But there you go. Then last but not least, at least in the main eventer, we got Sting. Sting's still solidly over. Got his good gimmick. In the mid 80s, he had the feud with Vampiro. He's again also like the other guys, he's getting older, but he isn't he's not falling apart quite as quick as the other guys. Well, again, I probably got another year or two with him, and then we'll have to figure out what to do. So next stop down for people, we've got our upper mid carders. So first up, we've got Alex Wright, who we basically was originally heel. We turned him face, made him he has a gimmick of basically a cocky youth to be with Kidman and Ray as part of the quasi filthy animals, and he was a tag partner of Ray, and he's basically doing the blue tripper gimmick that he should have had in the first place, and maybe he won't disappear from wrestling like he did in actuality. But if we got things like popularity wise, I've gotten up to a decent spot. If I want to push him more, he'll have to start beating people above him in the card. But in his current spot, 56C, perfectly solid upper mid carder who can feud with folks like he's currently doing. Billy Kidman, 62, 63. Currently with the Filthy Animals. I've sort of pushed him to relevancy by just having him, continue to win matches with Ray Jr. And then, more recently, had him do things like basically, win the U.S. title, feud with Jeff Jarrett over that to get more over, and then go from there. Then we got Chuck Palumbo, who has Stacy Keibler as his manager. Baddest very good gimmick. Basically this is the quasi-biker gimmick that Palumbo got in real life a couple years early. He was still with, O'Hare as a tag team. They split up amicably. And yeah, he's slowly getting more over. Again, he's another guy who, if we want to eventually push him big time, we'll have to start, actually cleanly putting over people, who are more popular than him, and getting more involved in angles with, main event folks, which I'm starting to do, like you saw this month. Conan, honestly, Conan's just here. He's a guy who has too many friends in the locker room, but I don't really care about booking. He's not that good, but like I'm not going like straight up job him, and he'll probably get more over slowly but surely just by being around guys like Ray Jr. and Kidman. But like I don't hate him, but again, like I don't love him. Awesome. On the other hand, like him and Storm were basically kings of my tag division for the first year. They just recently, really lost the belts. They got a three-way with Air Raid and Generic Stasiak at Slamboree. But if you see, popularity-wise, like they started out 52, they've been up to 57. And yeah, like it's not a thing where I'm like, we're like, Awesome is older, so, he's too old for me to push as a top guy, but like he can be pushed better than he was in real life. And yeah, like I said, him and Awesome, basically held the belts through end of October through March, and they've been otherwise like part of the tag titles scene for the whole time. Again, Rick Steiner, he has a job because his brother Scott is one of my top guys. He'll be around. I'll have him job to people, but he'll still stay over because I'll be realistic and include him in the high rating segments that Scott Steiner is in. Sean O'Hare, he's having a feud with Macho Man Randy Savage. They have a match at Paris. I've been booking him sort of strong, and let's just see, what happens with them. But yeah, I've been pushing him pretty strong since he broke up with Palumbo. He doesn't have a manager, but he's trying to be a straight ahead winner. And skills wise, like again, he's slowly getting there. Like this stuff is hard because I try to be like, I don't want to just have everything in front of me because I like to act like an actual like how an actual promoter would like not know for sure. But like yeah, O'Hare's like he could be a top guy for me in the future, possibly. Douglas is a member of the Horsemen, which is kind of hilarious if you know real life, but actually like as part of it that like Douglas is such a sellout that he's like joining the Horsemen with Flair and folks. But again, like he's a solid mid card upper card hand. He can be in a main event like of a Nitro without like ruining things. He can be in a random mid card match. He can job to people. He can do it. I think he's a total utility player, so he'll be kept around for a while. Yeah. Again, Shane Helms. Helms is like one of my project along with O'Hare and Canyon that I'm slowly booking to be part of the new top card at WCW. That's a different top card, but not like the typical. Let me just like push all the indie guys top card. His gimmick, which I looked into, Prima Donna of Great. But yeah, like. So if you look at his match history, basically, he was in the cruiserweight scene, and then, basically, where did I have yeah, so basically, once he lost at Mayhem, that was the end of him as a cruiserweight guy, and then I pushed him into this current like Collision Killer gimmick. And popularity-wise, like yeah, he was hanging around 38s just by beating good matches, got him up to 43, and since then, like just booking, having him strong in matches, having him beat people, or in good matches with top guys, has gotten him up all the way to either the mid 60s or just about that. And same thing with skills. Again, this is a guy who's turning into a pretty good worker. Yeah, just entertainment-wise, he's getting, turning into a perfectly solid, with above average charisma, good acting, decent star quality, and everything else. So, again, he probably will never be the guy, but he can be a main event player in the future. Stasiak, he's with Mark Jindrak, the current tag champs. Like Mark like Jindrak, he's not a guy I think will ever be a top guy, but he can be a total tag team like stalwart and hang around for a while. And yeah, like start 44, now he has a 54, just because I booked him well. And now on to our mid card players. This is where things get a little more interesting. So let's just, yeah, Jindrak, same thing. He's not like the most over guy. He's a little less over than Stasiak, surprisingly, and same thing with as Jasiak. He's never going to be a top guy, but he can be a tag title and maybe a future like mid-level U.S. title type. But to go back, we've got AJ Styles as mid-carder, 39-40. So he's getting there. Like I had him on pre-shows forever. Then I decided to sort of bite the bullet and put them on the main show. Him and Air Paris. And unsurprisingly, after being in the sort of pre-card ghetto forever, they've jumped up and now they're getting over. Cash is one of my accidental successors because he was just gonna be a random guy and probably would have lost his job eventually, but he lucked into a excellent chemistry with Reno, and now he's a solid mid card guy for me. But yeah, he was in 38s, 18. Now he's a solid high 30s, low 40s guy. Again, if he ever wants to become more over than that, I'll have to push him over, more over people, which may or may not happen. I'll just have to decide what I actually want to do because he's still he's a pretty good worker, especially in his team with Reno. But everything else if we look at things, he's getting slightly better in ring. Performance is getting better. Mike is getting better. Everything is getting slightly better. So who knows? Again, I went over this. Chavo sort of in this weird position where I want to push him, but I don't have time or really much to do with him. So he just sort of hangs out in this purgatory of showing up, dropping on TV, or in BM random matches on the pre-show match, unfortunately. Hopefully, might have something a little more to do in the future with him, but we'll figure that out from there. Disco, same thing. I am originally as the manager of Cash and Reno, then I figured out that I prefer them with Helms. So he's been sort of, again, stuck. He might become a jobber to my younger guys, as you can sort of see is already happening. Because, it's Cisco Inferno. What you going to do with him? Miller and Smiley are both guys who I like. I don't have anything against. I just have, legitimately nothing to do for them. So they've both been used as jobber to the stars. They show up on Nitro every once in a while. They job to somebody more over than them, but it's a solid match. But you can see that sort of kind of beginning to actually kill them, and they might be not even useful as far as that goes. So it might be the end of the road for both of them when their contracts are up. Because again, I don't have anything against them. I just don't know what to do with them. Finley's been solid for me. He was in the tag team with Jason Jett for a while. Now he's in sort of random matches. He's been slowly getting more over. He's solid in the ring. He's another guy who, might have a future U.S. title feud, but who knows? But right now, he's just there in the market having good matches. Jamie Noble, Young Dragon, getting there, really good in the ring. A future probably, top part of my cruiserweight division. Just have to build them up as I'm slowly starting to do here, as you can see. Again, high 30s, low 40s, and then he just has to have good matches on TV to get more over. Jason Jett is slightly more over than Noble, and that's partly because I've actually given him wins over other guys and put him in quasi-prominent positions. He's sort of been stuck in neutral for a few months before this, but he's now taken on Tajiri for the cruiserweight title, so who knows what will happen there. Lance Storm, awesome. Being pushed as part of Team Canada. The hinge of my tag division. Slowly getting more over, up to 55. And eventually, him and Austin won't be teaming forever, I guess is the story here, because they can both be upper card guys in their own way without being part of the tag division. Again, Mark Jindrak, we went over that. Macias, again, is one of my projects. He was in my developmental fed, then I was like, time to bring him up. So, his manager is Jerry Lawler. He has a very good occult gimmick. So again, we do the popularity. Like, yeah, just in basically a month, I've got him over to 40s almost immediately. So he's, a really talented guy, and a guy like sort of can be a new Munster heel in the future. Mike Sanders has the Chavo Guerrero problem, except I don't really care about him or like him. Like I actually do like Chavo a bit, so he might not survive, his next contract signing unless I figure out something to do with him, or if he looks into something. Because, like, yeah, he's been the same thing, jobber to the stars. Reno's been surprising in that, like, he was a guy who was probably going to end up, in developmental forever or released eventually, but he had that, like, good chemistry with Cash, and now he's a solid mid-card guy who does things like, he gets big six-man matches, he and Cash have been sort of stuck in neutral the last couple, like, if you notice. So if we bring up Cash, or, right, it would be, yeah. So, oh, whoops. Where is Cash? David Cash? Man, no, I forget what. That's the thing I was looking for. Damn it. But yeah, so yeah, Cash, like yeah, they, I figured out they actually had a team together, so I put them together. They were getting there. They were sort of getting pushed towards the top of the card. And they were going to have like possibly have a feud with Road Warriors, but then when the Road Warriors decided to go into rehab. But like, yeah, I've been solidly pushing them, and they'll probably have a future as part of the tag division long term. Anyway, Ray Jr. is Ray Jr. Like, again, I probably haven't been doing enough with him, just because he is Ray Jr., but he's been getting slowly more over. He's been in this thing with Alex Wright. I mean, be fair, he's been a tag champ with Wright, and after being he was like the linchpin of the tag division with Team Canada for the first part of 2001. Then he was a tag champ again with Alex Wright. So I can't be that upset about it, but this seems like something where maybe the future might be a little more brighter. Then Tajiri, he's a cruiserweight champion. He was recently signed, and he has a bright future. Again, he was in ECW. Now he's actually somewhere he can be more popular. And if you notice, he's getting up to low 40s and mid 40s, depending on where you're looking at. So he can possibly do something in the future. And like I said, he won the Cruiserweight title at Starrcade and has held the title since then. Next up, we've got Rob Van Dam. So, yeah. If you notice... Well, first let's look at Van Dam's match history, since he was, So, yeah. Basically, if you look at Van Dam, he was in DDT for a while, which is great for him. And then, 2002, he did the WWA tour in Australia, and then he showed back up in America. So, in real life, he was a member of the Invasion and got really over. In this version of reality, he was in Japan, then he was in Australia. So there you go. Popularity-wise, so he's, again, that weird part where he's, really over in parts of America because, ECW, but he's not over at all because the ECW. So, I'm sort of starting from scratch with him. If you notice, I've started off in Tri-State for a reason. I'll probably go into New England after this for a reason, and then we'll go from there to see if he actually gets over on TV. But yeah, if you notice, he's already getting a little more over everywhere. Just depends on what I do on the pay-per-view as he takes on Jarrett. So if we go to our lower mid-carders, Air Paris, again, is AJ Styles' tag partner. He's had basically the same process as Styles, because he's been only in matches with Styles. Vito and Johnny the Bull are sort of like my... Guys, I wish I was doing more with you, but I'm also not sure what to do with you. Because, like, especially the Bull, like, Johnny the Bull is actually a perfectly good worker. But, like Vito, like, if anything, I might eventually get rid of Vito, because he's just not that good, and eventually, like, push Johnny the Bull on his own. But I'm not sure about that. Gigantes, again, the former Wall, brought him in as Shane Helms' backup, and then just been rebuilding him via squash matches. Hoovy, I didn't mention this on the show, but he was basically suspended for a month because he was showed up wasted to a show. And he's less over than I thought, so I haven't been using him a ton. But eventually, like, he can be a part of the Cruiserweight division again. I just didn't realize how unpopular he was in this mod. And yeah, if you notice, since I signed him, he's been basically mostly been on the pre-shows. Then we got Kaz, Kaz is interesting because I have been pushing him, but he's been sort of stuck in a rut because after he lost the Cruiserweight title, I wasn't doing much with him except sort of like random matches. And then dropping matches to Tajiri to get Tajiri over. So, after he lost to Tajiri again at Strength and Steed, I had him turn heel. He's won 2 big matches, or not big matches, but 2, like, basically squashes against London Noble, and he's taking on Yang at the pay-per-view. So hopefully we'll go from there. And then same thing with Yang, been slowly pushing him along with Noble and Kaz, and, he'll be hopefully a long-term part of my Cruiserweight division. Okay, we got our openers. These are my real jobbers. Again, Skipper. Skipper will eventually do something. I just don't have anything for him on TV yet. But even, like, not really being on TV, he's slowly gotten more over just via pre-show matches. Again, Courageous and Moore. Like, they've just been either TV jobbers or pre-show folk. Johnny Swinger. Like, I wish I cared to do anything with him but he's like not that, like, if you look at like his actual skills, yeah, like he's okay, but he's like nothing to write home about. That's why he's a jobber. And then Lasharu, literally, I don't care about him. Like, literally, I don't think he's ever wrestled on TV except to be a victim of a squash. Yeah, he's either been a victim of squash, that's it, or he's been on a random pre-show match. Yeah, he went literally 4 months without appearing on TV. And as you expect, he's angry about that. But oh well, you're Lash LaRue. Then we've got Chris Harris, Kid Romeo, and the Funkster. Again, Chris Harris and James Storm are people who I'll eventually push because they're America's Most Wanted. But yeah, Romeo's Skipper's tag partner, and the Funkster is Alan Funk. Like, again, nothing bad, but what are you going to do with him? Then last but not least, we've got, as an occasional wrestler, we've got Terry Funk, who again I signed just basically for the Rhodes feud. So after this, I've got him on a pay-per-view deal for 6 months, and that's it. And that probably won't be along even for that long. But he can put over, he can have a match with Rhodes and then do whatever else I need to do with him. And Savage, same thing. I signed him because basically Savage is still insanely over. So hopefully, he can still do some stuff, get over, and then put some folks over before he gets too upset at me, have him ask him to drop people, and then I'll release him or get rid of him or whatever. And let's look at the non. So we went over all the in-ring people. Now let's look at all all the Outer Ring people. So, Arn the road agent. I may eventually bring him back on TV for something with Horseman, but he's just a road agent for now. Silverman is a ref. Body Human is color commentator. I might eventually take him off Nitro when in real life he got the cancer, just because it feels weird continuing to use him. But like for now, he's still awesome on color. Robinson is another ref. Don Marie is Ginger Atkins DGX manager. She's perfectly solid. She has good chemistry with one of them, and yeah, she's been slowly getting more over as she appears on TV. Dusty Rhodes is Dusty Rhodes. You know, he was Dustin's manager, and now he's just sort of showing up for random road stuff. Eric Bischoff, again, I've been using him. Like, he's officially a heel, but he's more like, 2002, 2003 Raw GM Eric, where he's just wants, stuff for ratings. But even putting that aside, as he's been showing up on TV, actually being booked fairly well, he's been actually getting over. Gene's Gene, he'll continue my probably guy who does interview stuff for a while. Barash, he exists. Jerry Lawler, again, I screwed up. I thought I signed him so he could wrestle, but he can't, so I had to sort of like throw Funk in, and he's managing Messia, so it's sort of a weird thing, but I like using him because like most people will just say, oh, he's now the color combinator on Nitro, but I like using him as something different on here. Ace is a road agent, so there you go. Again, referee. Majaya, yeah. So, she's a pay per appearance. Or no, she's still written, and she's just around to use as eye candy, and because she has good chemistry with Scott Steiner. So there you go. Mike Tenay is Mike Tenay. He's not doing any announcers yet, except on the pre-show. But yeah, I might eventually figure something out for him, possibly in the near future. Miss Jones is Ernest Miller's manager, so yeah, she's around. I'm not sure what else to do with her, to be honest. Nick Patrick, a ref. Scott Hunt is an announcer. Stacy Keebler is Chuck Palumbo's manager / relay. She's really hot, and she'll be around for a while. And if you notice, like, yeah, she's slowly getting over. Stevie Ray is Stevie Ray. He had his like one match back with Booker to set up the world title my first Scott Steiner at Starrcade. Since then, like, again, I might have something to do with him in the future. I'll just have to figure out some stuff. Terry Taylor, road agent. Tony Schiavone's Tony Schiavone. And Tori Wilson is Filthy Animals manager. And again, same thing. Getting slowly over. So yeah, this is my... So that's the whole roster. That's as far as like the actual... what's the word I'm looking for? The actual like, WCW roster. Now if we go to Developmental, that's also interesting. So let's start off in Wildside. So these are all the people who are currently I have on the Wildside roster. So we've got Blitzrig, who, if you don't know, basically in real life, showed up, had a bunch of boss matches, then went being a computer programmer. So I signed him just to keep him, like, on TV. Yeah. And so, yeah, he'll eventually be part of the Cruiserweight title scene. Or Cruiserweight, division. Chance Profit. He's just a guy who had decent star quality, so I signed him up. Chris Rambola. You know who he eventually turns into, or you don't, so either way, it'll be a surprise. But yeah, he's rookie here, so he can stay in Developmental for a while and eventually get better. David Flair is David Flair. He has a draw because his dad's Ric Flair. Drew Onyx, again. Brawler guy who might have a solid future, so have him around in Developmental. Jack Evans is Crazy Jack Evans, so he has a future as part of the Cruiserweight division. Jamie Tucker is a ref. Joey Ryan is Joey Ryan. I don't like him in real life, but he has solid entertainment skills, so why not push him, possibly. Johnny Devine is, Johnny Devine, again, another possible Cruiserweight guy. Keith Walker had, like, solid stats, so I signed him up to be part of the Developmental. Ken Anderson is Ken Anderson, so I signed up because he's, possibly charismatic in the future, has a good future. Kill Switch, random. Kill Switch and Wraith Child were just two indie guys I saw with decent start quality, so I signed them up. MI Smooth is a former Ice Train, just keeping around to the end of his contract. Monty Brown is Monty friggin' Brown, so he'll probably get a really good big push once I have him ready to be on the main show. Ball London, Please Don't Die. Weird guy, Dolphins, all that fun stuff. Future Cruiserweight guy. Prince Nana, I'm not sure if I'll actually have him be a worker or a manager. Just depends on how it goes. Ray Gordy, Terry Gordy's son, might get pushed better here in WCW as opposed to WWF, where he turned into a joke. Ray LePen, the future Adam Rose, just sign up because he was around, so let's see what happens. Animals here doing training because Hawk's in rehab. He's not happy about it. Ballad Brothers because it's early 2000s, so by law you have to sign the Ballad Brothers to be a tag team. Sterling James Keenan, also known as Corey Graves, also known as I just decided to sign him just because. Tank Tolan, again, possible decent guy in the future. Teddy Hart, because he's Teddy Hart. Starge is doing training. Tony Jones, because he was a guy who possibly, really getting more over if he had gotten the shot in WCW instead of being stuck being told by Jim Ross he didn't have the body for the WWF for Tough Enough, or Beyond the Mat, rather. Tony Kozina, just because he might be decent. Trevor Rhodes, just says I find him interesting as a possible maybe future Rhodes brother or Rhodes cousin, or just as another random gimmick. And Wraith Child, like I said. Now the other interesting thing is, of course, AWQ, which is my women's developmental fed for a future, women's division WCW. So let's go over these folks. We've got Alex Lurie, future Mickie James, who's 22 at this point. We've got Steve Corino's sister, Allison Danger. We've got Amber O'Neal, the future Bullet Club Blade. We've got Angel Williams, the future Angelina Love. Annie Social, who just had a good look, so I decided to sign her up. Beth Phoenix, future wife of Edge, but might not happen this, reality. Bonnie Maxon, who you might know as part of the Minnesota Working Crew with Lacey, if you ever watched Shimmer. Cheerleader Melissa, the future Risha Khan, whatever her Lucha Underground gimmick was, but yeah, she's just Cheerleader Melissa now. Gail Kim, who does not look like that anymore, but hey, it was the early 2000s. Katarina Waters, future possibly incestuous sister of Paul Burchell on WWF TV. Also, Winter, right, in TNA. Kim Nielsen. I forget who is she in real life. Damn it. Well, she's a bodybuilder. Yeah. Anyway, Shell Future Spot. Kristen Estara. Again, you should know who that is. Another member of the Beautiful People. Lacey. Lufisto, who's really good already at this point. Malia Hosaka, who's doing training. Nikki Rocks. There you go. And Roni Jonah, who, future Reign. So, these, I've had them as an example. Gail Kim. AWQ's been around, since basically last September. And skills-wise, she's a bad example because we don't have much to look at her skills. Let me see here who's actually... Angel Williams is probably better. So they're slowly getting better. And also, just in general, overness. They went from basically being not over at all to mid-30s, and in the mid-40s, So a lot of it is just getting them up to a level where they won't completely destroy my TV levels. But yeah. Anyway, So next up is Slamboree. Already went over the show before. Hope you enjoyed this sort of like run over of the whole roster. Who knows what the roster will look like in a year, or 6 months, or whenever. But anyway, that's all for now. Give me a like if you enjoyed this. Go ahead and comment below if you have any thoughts on the roster. But that's all for now. So talk to you later. Adios.